Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast. I'm starting this first ever episode going solo. Danny will be joining us a little later, but we have a super special guest that I'm very excited to learn about, and such. Javier, who joins us today. I saw him on an Instagram post like 3 weeks ago. I saw the numbers he was doing, Wholesale, seen the guy right around my age and everything. I was like, gotta get this dude on. Didn't look into it too much, just got him scheduled because I wanted to learn on the pod and such. But thanks for joining us, man. Definitely. And stuff. Super excited.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I know you guys share like a lot of important information in here. You've had like a lot of big names. So I'm super thankful for being here. Thank you for the opportunity, and let's just share as much information as possible.
Yeah, okay. So what that August screenshot just was crazy to me. So so how much was the August screenshot? And then we'll get into your backstory and such of how you got into Amazon and was able to, find success in a couple of years and such.
Yeah, so August was the best year for us. I believe it was like 440K for the month.
Crazy.
100% wholesale. So yeah, bro, we've been trying to scale a lot, especially this year. And I mean, we're putting the numbers right there. I mean, like we're working super hard right now, trying to get advantage of Q4. So hopefully we get to the 500K milestone pretty soon.
Okay, and it obviously wasn't always like that. So when did you start Amazon? How'd you find it? And then we'll talk through kind of the whole process, your story.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, I mean, like I actually opened my Amazon store back in 2018. I did a 2018 and 2019 kind of like a side hustle. I was doing a little bit of arbitrage. I didn't do much of retail arbitrage because I mean, like I didn't really like the hustle of going store to store and stuff. So I was focusing a little bit more on online arbitrage. And then by the end of 2019, I placed my first wholesale order. And then 2020 was with the pandemic, like it just blew off. 2021 we kept scaling, and right now we're doing like the best numbers that we've ever done.
Yeah, so just to contextualize it, so what were your 2020 sales compared to your 2021 and then projected end of 2022?
Okay, so yeah, I mean 2018 2019 it was super low. I mean I would say below 100K a year, so it was like super low. I mean, like it was kind of like a side hustle, like a hobby. I had another job, so like I didn't pay much attention. Then I got serious with Amazon 2020. I believe for that year we made 750K in sales for the year. Then 2021 it was 2.4 millions, and then for 2022 we're planning on doing between 4 and 4.5 million for a year.
Nice. So that okay, 400 in September, right? Obviously great profit on that. In general, it's had to have been pretty consistently like at least over like 200 a month probably the whole year, so right around that.
Yep. So at the beginning of the year we were doing around 200 250. Then I believe it was between around April we got a really good Amazon lending loan, and that helped a lot. I mean, like I just took the whole loan. It was for almost $500,000. I just put everything on inventory, and like it went crazy. I mean, like we went at the beginning of the year, we were doing around 200, 250K. Right now we're around 400, between 400 and 500K per month.
So you definitely like the wholesale model. You've obviously had way more success with that than the arbitrage side of things.
Yeah. So I mean, I do like arbitrage. I do believe that for beginners, arbitrage is better than wholesale. Kind of like to understand the system, how Amazon works, how to find like good products, what is a good product, what is a bad product. I mean, like you need like that learning phase. But I do believe as well that once you are good at arbitrage, you should just make the jump to wholesale. That's what I believe. And I mean, like for 2018 2019 I was doing a lot of arbitrage, but I always have my eyes on the wholesale model because I believe it's way more scalable and it's kind of like a more consistent business.
Yeah, we were talking about that off camera, right? I was talking about how like my sales are going to be low this month, but I'm doing that so they can be huge in December, right? And it's because the market changes on a lot of arbitrage stuff, but the wholesale side of things, it's a lot more consistent. You know, you can work on it all the time and stuff. And I would completely agree in terms of the scalability side of things. Even I think I'm getting close to the cap in terms of the way side of things. And it's just like, it's interesting though, because like back in the day, I thought the only way to make even like 10K profit a month was with wholesale, right? And so obviously it's, you know, proven, you know, there's people doing huge numbers with retail arbitrage and such too. It's just like, it gets to the point of diminishing returns and stuff where like, I think over like a couple $1,000,000 a year in sales, a couple 100K in profit, like if you really, really want to make a boatload of money, it has to be wholesale, because just like skill set wise, and then just with order cancels and stuff too. And do you think, like, what do you think is the main driving factor to your success? Is it your skill set fits wholesale well, or you just worked a ton on it, which I'm sure you have, or like, is it some competitive advantages like local suppliers or stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, like, and not all my suppliers are local, even though, I mean, like, I'm a firm believer of local suppliers, because you save a ton of money, a ton of time. I mean, like, it's just a game changer.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, like, I'm lucky because I'm here in Miami, so I have like a couple good suppliers here down in the city that are like really, really close to me. They do free shipping. I mean, like, I place the order today, they'll just pack it between tomorrow and Friday, and then by Monday I have it in my warehouse. So it's like super, super quick. I would say that's one of the main reasons. The other reason is that I believe you need to get like to really good suppliers. This is, I was talking with KT the other day, and we both agree, like, bro, like, we're doing pretty decent numbers. I mean, like, we're not the biggest sellers ever, but I mean, like, around $500,000 a month is pretty decent.
Oh, it's amazing.
And both of us, we just work with around 8 to 10 suppliers.
Yeah, and that's the key, dude, is like, you don't need it. It's the same thing with OA. Like, you don't need a million sites to make, you know, 6 figures profit, stuff like that. You just need certain things that you know really well. And in OA, that can be getting around order cancels, stuff like that. Wholesale, it's a better relationship. It's you having better B2B skills, not being afraid to get on the phone, not being able to lose money on the first order to build that relationship and such. So what's your process in terms of getting new suppliers? Is it cold calling, cold emailing? What's that looking like? All the above?
I mean, like, actually, I mean, like, to be honest with you, I don't have like an established process to get my suppliers. I mean, one of the biggest and the easiest or more efficient ways of doing it, it'll be trade shows like ASD. I'm a fan of ASD 100%. I mean, like, you go to ASD and you're gonna get at least 8, 10, 12 really good suppliers. So that's kind of like the easy way if you have the opportunity of going to Vegas and the trade show. And then other than that, bro, like, I'll just do Google search, especially like for local suppliers, just like a basic search. I do a lot of like beauty products, personal care products. So I'll just go on Google and put like beauty suppliers in Miami, wholesale. That's it. I mean, like, wholesalers of beauty products down in Miami, things like that. And then I'll just start like kind of like going and doing like a little filter on what I believe is gonna be a good supplier, what seems to be more of like a retail model. So I'm not gonna get like the best prices out of that supplier. And then I'll just go and knock on doors. I mean, like, if it's in your city, or I would say like a 20-minute ride, a 30-minute ride, like, I'll just show up, knock on the door, introduce myself, and try to get like that personal relationship with a sales agent.
Yeah, and I talk about this all the time with people, whether it's OA, whether it's wholesale stuff. We all have our own competitive advantages with different things, right? Like, if you live in like around a big city, your sales tax percentage is probably going to be disproportionately higher than someone who lives rural, but you have a much bigger advantage with wholesale, because you can do locally, you can door knock, you can go meet people in person, right? Stuff like that. If you live in a really rural area, regardless of sales tax, then your labor is a lot cheaper. Your space is a lot cheaper to where you can pay shipping costs and stuff like that. And when you holistically think about that and just like really try to like dig in on your competitive advantages, like the best, I'd say locations probably like New Jersey, Delaware, stuff like that. Right? Because you have some sales tax advantage and Manhattan, Jersey City distribution and stuff like that. But we all have something, right? And that's the key too, is like some people, right? Say you're a little older, you have business experience, you've been working for 10, 20 years, something like that. You have a ton of interpersonal skills, most likely, that other people don't have, like you and I, who are younger. We haven't had as much time in our career and everything like that. You just have to like really understand that your skills really stack on top of each other. Like, dude, like calling that first wholesale, you were probably so like, oh my God, is he gonna say no, whatever? And then like you realize the only way you get to the point where it works is you get a bunch of no's.
100% agree. So yeah, it's a matter of just kind of like understanding your competitive advantage, as you said, and just playing around those things that you're good at. I mean, like for example, like I don't like calling. Like I hate calling. I hate it. Like I'll just rather like do a 2 hours drive and talk in person than talk over the phone with someone. So I mean, like I feel I'm way better like getting that relationship like face to face rather than on the phone. So I play by that book. If you feel you're good at a phone calling because you have some experience, or maybe you were doing like cold calling in your previous job or something, like that might be better for you. So it's just kind of like understanding what you're good at and playing and kind of like double down on those skills.
Yeah, and that's really like it's how you grow, is you get that initial snowball rolling, right? And the key is that you and I have been doing it a bunch of years, so we've had a bunch of chances to pounce on different opportunities. Like if you're listening to this and you've been doing this under a year, like you probably haven't been through, you definitely haven't been through multiple Q4s. You maybe have been through one, right? On stuff like that, you've been through one back to school. Like you haven't had the opportunity to pounce on a big opportunity. And like you said, you have a couple suppliers that work really well. I have a couple websites, couple product types that work really well. The time in the market lets you find those things. And if you don't do it long enough, you don't even give yourself a chance to get those little things that may end up paying dividends for years. If you only post on social media for a week, you don't get the chance to meet the friends that might become partners, the way it's worked for me, or, suppliers, we do content together, whatever. Like that. And I see you have the Amazon page where you speak in Spanish. That's pretty interesting. What inspired you to do that?
Yeah, so I mean, like there's a lack of information in Spanish, like a huge lack of information. I mean, like we all know it's kind of hard to get like good information about selling on Amazon.
In general.
You guys
Yeah.
like hands down might be like the best podcast on Amazon that I've ever heard. And I mean, like I told you off camera, like I listen to your episodes. I know you guys on the podcast, and you share like a lot of good information. When you hit me up like to do this session, I was like, yeah, 100%. Like I really want to be there, because I mean it's like a lot of good information, but it's kind of hard to get to guys like you. I mean, like you need to listen to a bunch of episodes that they don't say anything, or they just try to sell you a private label course.
Yeah.
Like 90% of the time. And then so it's kind of hard like to get to that point. And then in Spanish is way worse. I mean, like there's just like not enough information. So I saw kind of like that opportunity and that like gap on the market. So I'm just trying to explain what I'm doing, but in Spanish. So kind of like translating all the information. I mean, like we have all this information, then trying to like filter it down to the really important information, and then just translating in Spanish. So it's a good project that I have. I've helped like a lot of people. There's a lot of people that they've been doing arbitrage and wanted to do the jump to wholesale. And I believe that's like my perfect student, let's call it that way. Like those guys that they already sell, so we don't need to get too much into the basics.
Yeah, the basics
And
is
it's
tough.
just kind of like making the jump.
Yeah, so it's Mundo Amazon, right?
Mundo
So
Amazon.
that's Mundo is world.
Yeah. So it's Amazon world pretty much.
Yeah, oh yeah, dope. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then how long you been doing that?
I mean, like I opened the Instagram account maybe like a year ago, but I mean, like I wasn't paying much attention to it, and then it was kind of like a project that I had for this year. So maybe since May or June, I started like posting like really good content and stuff. Then I had my first in-person training in August, and then this weekend, and then this weekend I have the second one.
Cool. So that's in Miami then.
Yeah, that's in Miami.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Cause like I think you gotta find that the perfect blend is like having the social media account, but not like worrying about it too much, but having it, because then I can go on that and I can see, okay, this dude's not just posting screenshots. I can see he's been out. I can see a post from 2021. You know, I can see you've been doing it, right? It's kind of like a resume of some sorts, but it doesn't have to take a bunch of time, but you need it. Or like it really, you don't need it, but like it's like it really helps, and it costs nothing to do and stuff. Because then when you have a question for Javier, you have a question for me, I can see that you're really living and breathing it, and whether that's a good or a bad thing, you get a higher quality answer because of that, and it helps you make friends. Like it's just a good thing overall to do. Yeah, and like no one wants to do it too.
Yeah,
And
I
stuff, and
know.
it's
I
free.
know. Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, for sure. Well, thanks to Mundo Amazon is how we met, and
Yeah.
that's why we're here. Because I mean, like I was, I told you before. I mean, like I was just trying to stay low on the social media game, and I didn't like posting like too much of my results
Yeah,
or
and you don't have to.
and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, you
But
find the
then, like,
blend of what works.
yeah, but then I mean, like once I started like Mundo Amazon and stuff, like it showed me it opened like a lot of doors to me. To be honest, like a lot of them.
Yeah, because you start talking about it more, it reinforces it. So you start thinking about it differently. You start getting questions from people, which makes you like do like even just the basics better. Because like how you do it is like you do the basics really well. Like you call a bunch of distributors, you visit a bunch of distributors, you spend a bunch of time doing OA. Like that's how you get good. Like everyone wants to overcomplicate things, but like people say get into wholesale, right? It's like, okay, call 500 distributors. And then they'll call 6, get 4 no's, two people didn't answer and like think it doesn't work. No, like you have to do it an ungodly amount of stuff. Like even doing this for 4 years, I've been doing it for 3 years. Like I didn't really get significant results to like 2 years in basically.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I mean, like at the beginning, it's super tough. I mean, like, but I mean, it's just life. At the beginning, you're gonna suck at it, and then once you start like practicing over and over and over again, like you're gonna get better, and there's gonna be a point where you're gonna be like really, really, really good at. But there's people that they just call 2 distributors. They say, "Oh no, we don't work with Amazon sellers," and then they just get discouraged and just kind of like quit. So that's not gonna help you a lot.
Yeah, like all the people who say it doesn't work, like haven't actually tried. Like the people who say, how do I get around distributors saying they don't sell it? It's like, okay, have you called 500 of them? No. Then
Yeah.
how can you like you don't have enough volume of blanket statement? Because dude, you could call 2 and 2 say yes. That person, even though they didn't do volume, they just got lucky on stuff, and now that leads them to calling a bunch more. But they took the first step and they just gave themselves the chance to get the ball rolling. And you just need that initial thing to get the ball rolling. So I'm curious, kind of some real like tactical stuff. What's the most money you've put into one ASIN? Not at one time, but like overall.
Overall, that's a hard question. I would say maybe like around 100K. But
That
I mean, like,
mine's gonna be right around that too. Yeah.
over a period of maybe like a year and a half. I'm sorry. Let me
Oh,
tell
and you can find, yeah, Amazon does actually make it easy to find that stuff too. If you like know a quick selling ace and you put in, you see the units over time. Yeah, it's the same
Yeah,
thing for
but
me.
I mean, like I don't like spending a whole bunch of money on just one ASIN. I like to have like a little bit more of like a broad catalog. I mean, like it has better results, at least for me. Because I mean, like sometimes, I mean, like Amazon. So if there is an ASIN that is selling like really, really well, then Amazon might jump into the listing and just kind of like tank the price. So I mean, when I get like these really good ASINs, like I start putting money on them, of course, but like I try not to go like super heavy at once. But if I send, let's say, 200 units, they sell like really well. Then I send 600 units, they sell really well. I might go like to 1,200, but I don't like sending like maybe like 5,000 units of one ASIN. Like I don't do it.
And you don't need to because you're good at consistently finding stuff, so you can find more. Like it's not a scarcity thing on stuff. So what I've taken away so far is that you're mainly buying from distributors, right? How does it work in terms of like I doubt many local distributors have even like UPCs or anything? Like are you having to like sometimes go in and scan the products physically to see the market on stuff, or typically do they have good lists that help?
Yeah, I mean, like I had one supplier where I just go like kind of like to a showroom and start like scanning products. But most of them they have either price list with the UPC or kind of like physical catalogs that you have to do the research like one by one. I mean, like it takes time, it's super boring, but I mean, like on those suppliers is where you get the best results. 100%.
Yeah, because like they like they're the people who haven't caught up, you know, to modern marketing and stuff. So they're like, if you can find them, it's harder to find them because they haven't caught up with stuff. So naturally, if they're harder to find, tend to be more lucrative on stuff, obviously, just broadly speaking on stuff. So you say is that like you and a partner, or you and like the warehouse staff, or like what does the operation look like?
Yeah, I mean, like it's actually like kind of like a family business, which I'm like very proud of, to be
Hell
honest.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I got my first employee, which was my dad back in 2020, the beginning of 2020. Now it's just myself. I'm in charge of all the kind of like placing orders and managing inventory, making payments and everything else. Then I have my dad kind of like directing everything in the warehouse. Then I have my two sisters helping with the prep and everything. I have another guy full time, and then I have a guy kind of like on and off depending on the weeks and how it's going with the with the inventory and all the activity in the warehouse. So we're basically 4 people full time and one guy that is kind of like on and off.
And then do you have a target ROI you set on products like that you have in mind? Because obviously now that you're taking on overhead, I assume you've had to raise that potentially on stuff. Like what are you targeting as like a, I guess, gross margin?
30. I mean, like I don't do much of net margin. I mean, like I pay close attention to ROI instead of
I agree
that's
too.
how it's been working best for me. So yeah, I have an ROI rule, 30% or more. I mean, like if it's like 27, 28, like I just don't take it. I'll take it 30 or more. The only way that I might work with a 20, 25, 27% ROI, it'll be if the product sells like really, 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 really well, or like really fast.
Yeah, and there's certainly many cases I'm sure where you end up doing that, and it's like some stuff goes down, right? So it might recover and everything, but it's a good rule of thumb, and that's what Scott Needham was talking about the other week. We had him on. He was talking about how that's like a really important thing, is like making sure you're not like, you have an idea in mind, because naturally some stuff's gonna go down, some stuff's gonna go up on stuff. And do you have like a general like consensus on how many ASINs you carry at a time?
I mean, like our catalog has been growing a lot, especially the last couple months. Right now, I believe we have around 1,400 active.
Oh,
ASINs.
that's a shit ton. Yeah, that's like 3x what I'd expect it to be. Yeah, so you're working hard on stuff. How does that work repricing wise?
Yeah, I mean, like right now we're using Seller Snap, which is like
Oh,
really,
that's
really
like
good.
the Lamborghini of repricers from what
Yeah,
I hear. It's
100%. Yeah,
expensive.
right. It's $500 a month just on the repricing. So
It
it's
better be
super
good.
expensive, but I
Yeah.
mean, like it does make a difference. You have the cost of the product, and then you just kind of do the repricing strategy. I'll place the minimum ROI maybe around 20, 25%, and then the maximum 100, 150%. So, but I mean, like it's good because it's not a repricer that only tanks the price, but like when they see when the software sees the opportunity of increasing the price, like it'll do it like automatically. So it's good.
Yeah, it's important to really not reprice aggressively from my experience, because then you end up missing on those weird examples of stuff that like just skyrockets for whatever reason. Like there's something I was selling last year for like 110, 120, a little bit higher during Q4, and then on like April to like July, it went down to like 90, and then I randomly in August got a sale for like 150. But if
Man.
I was like worried about like some people are setting maximums on their repricer, like not just 999, and they're missing a bag every once in a while. It's like a couple of times that happens a year. That could be an extra like $500 profit, like with no additional work, and even less work because you're just setting the maximum as 999 rather than like placing it at the peak. Like no, let it run. If Bezos wants it to go up, like let it go up, let it go up and stuff, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like talking about that, like the way I try to place like the max price, it'll be like you just go and check the keep charts and see like if it's selling like too high, what happens to a rank? Because I mean, like you don't want that product selling at 150 if nobody's gonna buy it, you know. So you need to find like that balance between like going as high as possible but still maintaining a good ranking.
Yeah, and Amazon, the nice thing is like with OA too, the way it's like a little bit more of an open playing field. There's like always competition on stuff. Basically, I think it's a little bit different wholesale wise on stuff. And then are you doing like really anything that's like any type of like reverse searching or like keep a product finder or anything, or is it literally just whatever these boys in Miami have is what we're buying? Like as long as the numbers make sense.
Yeah, I mean, like in wholesale is different. I mean, like
Yeah,
I check like nobody's store. I mean, like I always have like a bunch of people like, oh yeah, what's this guy's store name? I'm like, bro, I don't know.
doesn't
Like,
matter.
like
Yeah, yeah,
I just know like my store name and
yeah.
that's it. But yeah, I mean, basically it's whatever the suppliers have that makes sense. That's what I'm focusing on. So sometimes, I mean, like I know there's like a lot of products that sell like really, really well. So I'll just try to find a supplier of that brand. If it's in Miami, even better. If
Better,
it's,
yeah.
I don't know, New York or California, I'll just do it as well. But yeah, that's the only thing that I do kind of like reverse search. Other than that, is just, I mean, like the suppliers that I work with, I mean, like whatever they have in stock, whatever makes sense to me with a good ranking, with a 30% ROI, I'll just take it from there.
Uh-huh. And then does every once in a while, like the supplier tells you like a super low price compared to what you'd like be comfortable paying, like, can you just hit a home run? Does that happen every once in a while?
Yeah, I mean, like actually, one of my biggest suppliers is down here in Miami. That was actually the first supplier that I worked with. So they have this kind of like tiers for pricing. So depending on the volume that you're buying, they'll give you a better price. So compared to I mean, like right now I'm at the kind of like the top pricing tier, which is 18% discount. So it's a game changer. So there's people, I mean, basically what it means is there's people buying from that same supplier for 18%
Yeah,
more
exactly. And that's on,
so, I
yeah, on the
mean,
product cost. So that's
yeah,
like,
but
that's crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I mean, like that comes related to what we were talking before, which is kind of like creating that relationship with the supplier. I mean, like you don't really need 40, 50, 60 suppliers. I mean, like you can get to a really, really, really high level with just like 10 good suppliers. I mean, like you're going to have to contact a lot of suppliers. You're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of yes. But then when you do the product research, they don't work because they have like super high prices or they don't have the products that you're looking for. But I mean, like from all those distributors that you're constantly calling or contacting or getting in touch with, like you just need 8 of them, 10 of them, and you can make like really, really high numbers.
And the issue is everyone thinks they need 50, so that's why they won't even they never even start on it, you
Yeah,
know?
I know. And the other
So,
thing is, I mean, like if you have 40, I mean, like I'm pretty sure the guys from Amazon Lead, Eric and Sebastian, they might have, I don't know, 40 suppliers,
yeah, who
50
knows?
suppliers, even more because they're like at that top
Yeah.
level. But I mean, if you want to make what I was saying before, if you want to make $500,000 in sales per month, you can do it with 8 suppliers or 10 suppliers. Because I mean, like if you have 40, 50 suppliers, especially at the beginning, you don't even remember the name of the person that takes care of your account. I mean, like you're not gonna remember like all 40 or 50 names of everybody. So if you don't know their name, most likely they're not gonna know your name. So they're not gonna be treating you as well, meaning pricing wise, or if they get like new products or offers or VIP shows or things like that. I mean, like you're not gonna get invited because you're not that important to that distributor.
For the local deliveries, are you guys picking them up or are they getting dropped off mainly?
I mean, most of them they do free delivery here if it's local.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. And like
I mean, like,
how
we don't even have
deliveries.
like a box truck or anything.
Yeah, that's so sick. So they just post them up basically. And then how many warehouses have you had? Because you and I had talked about off camera about you. I was like moving into a bigger one or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, like actually, I moved to my first warehouse. It was at the end of 2019 when I finally got the wholesale account with this distributor that we were talking about. So it was like a super small warehouse, 200 square foot. It was just kind of like enough space for like a pallet and a prep table, and that's it. So that one was like a share warehouse. After that one, we moved to a bigger unit, which was like around 400 square foot. Then we moved to a bigger unit, which was around 900 square foot. And right now we have the biggest unit of the warehouse, which is 2,000 square foot. plus another one which is 1,000 square foot, mainly for storage. So right now we have 3,000 square foot, and we're moving to just kind of like an independent warehouse, which is 5,000 square foot.
And are those year-long leases, or how does that work? Because you've like been lucky to be able to hop around. Like some people get stuck with stuff.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a shared warehouse. It's just a huge warehouse, and then it's divided by units depending on the space that you need. So the contract is way more flexible. It's
nice.
month, and then next month you can just move to a bigger one. I mean, like it's really flexible. That helped a lot. Because I mean, I know there's people, well, actually to the new one that we're going to, which is independent, we're signing a 5-year deal. So now we don't have like that flexibility anymore.
Yeah, but you probably have a lot of space to grow into with there, and efficiency you can pick up and stuff like that. So what are some of the big mistakes you made that would have gotten you to this point a year earlier, 2 years earlier, potentially?
I would say raising capital, maybe. I mean, like at the beginning, you're like too afraid. Maybe you're
yeah, because you don't have the proof of concept, and the proof of concept is what lets you actually do it.
Yeah. So yeah, at the beginning, I mean, like I took like super long to start like applying for credit cards and line of credits and stuff. Amazon lending, I mean, like you don't get like that much money until you're like selling moving like a lot of volume. So I would say that's one of like the only things that I regret, because I mean, like for the first 2 or 3 years, it was just kind of like personal credit cards, or I was borrowing money from friends. I mean, like it was kind of like the old school method. And then I started like learning a little bit more about credit and applying to credit lines, to credit cards and stuff, and that helps 100%.
And then in terms of like, and I'd love to jam on this a little bit, but what do you see out of like successful Amazon sellers in general, having been in the game a while, and like students who have had success, stuff like that?
You said about Amazon lending, you said?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So traits of successful sellers, like what are some commonalities you see in between people who make it and people who don't?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we feel comfortable taking no's. I mean, like you're gonna take no's from suppliers, from Amazon, from people, from everyone, and you need to just accept that and just kind of like keep going. So there's a lot of people, as we were saying, like they get a no from a supplier and they get discouraged and then they just quit. I mean, like you're gonna get obstacles every time. I mean, like right now I'm solving problems with Amazon and with suppliers and stuff like pretty much every day, and it's not fun, but I mean, it's just part of the job. So once you understand that and you just kind of like keep pushing and you convince yourself that it's going to be worth it, like it helps a lot. So I would say maybe like resiliency, if you're looking for a word, 100%.
Yeah, I actually really like that term, because we were talking about it a little earlier, right? Like the only way that you get really good is you do it for a while. And ironically, when you do it for a while, you then find those little opportunities, call it luck, call it preparation, whatever, that you can pounce on. And that's what really, like 80-20 rule, right? Like I'm sure, 80% of your profit comes from 20% of the items, 20% of the suppliers, 20% of the inputs. So true for OA, so true for time, different stuff like that. And then on top of things like something like the positive reinforcement, right? A lot of that can come from your network if you're doing it right. Like if you're listening to stuff like this, if you're talking to us, like I will answer if you DM me, stuff like that. Like I'm sure you will too, especially if we can see that you're doing stuff actively on your own and stuff like that. But I definitely like it. And if you just do it long enough, like it's the only way to get good at it. And then when you do it long enough, you naturally get good at it, and then it becomes easier. Your output per hour skyrockets and stuff like that. Definitely. Okay. So for the Buy Box Bandit listener who's doing arbitrage right now, give me the action steps to within 3 months, within 6 months, be 50% wholesale, 100% wholesale. How do they get the ball rolling quick? What are the action steps?
Okay. So, I mean, like, first of all, I mean, like, I would say kind of like double down on the products that you consistently sell. I mean, like for OA sellers, I know they always have like these products that they always sell and they sell good. And then on top of that, they're looking for new products. So I would say like kind of like focus on those products that you already trust, that they sell well for a good profit and stuff. And then kind of like start making the transition to wholesale. I wouldn't say to jump into wholesale at once. I mean, it has to be kind of like a transition. So for a couple months, I would say between at least 3 to 6 months, you have to be doing both at the same time. And then once you feel you can kind of like replace the profits from this side to the wholesale side, then just jump 100% into wholesale. But I mean, like, you need to be ready to it. The other thing is, I mean, like, there's a lot of people that they've been doing OA for years, and then they want to jump into wholesale, and they expect it to work in 2 months, and it's not like that. So you need to find those really good suppliers first at the beginning, and once you start seeing like those profits and that stability from those suppliers, you can then make the jump and start kind of like letting go of the OA.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, it totally doesn't have to be, 100% thing. It can be 70-30, 90-10, stuff like that. Maybe every December you then do some OA, or maybe, you live in Las Vegas. So maybe every summer you go to ASD or something like that, and you add a little bit more each year or something like that. Like it becomes a lot easier to conceptualize when you're thinking about it, long term and stuff. Like it makes it a lot easier to put in little inputs and stuff, and that really culminates and everything. But no, I really appreciate the game on different stuff. Where can people find you on socials?
So my personal is at Javier Garcia 7, and then the one where I speak about Amazon is mostly Spanish. It'll be at Mundo Amazon. So
Sweet.
Amazon World.
Yeah, Amazon World, absolutely. Well, dude, it's great. It's great having you on. Excited to meet up here hopefully in a few weeks on stuff. Thanks to everyone who listened. Get a free trial Seller Amp in the description. Have a great day.